65 million years ago, the Earth went silent. The skies turned black, the oceans boiled, and the age of giants, creatures that once ruled every corner of the planet, came to a sudden, fiery end. But what really happened? For over a century, scientists, philosophers, and storytellers have tried to piece together the truth. Was it a single catastrophic event that ended them in an instant? Or was it a slow, unstoppable chain reaction written into the planet itself? We've all heard the simple version. An asteroid hit Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs. But the reality is far more haunting. Because when you look closer, you realize the dinosaurs didn't just die out. They transformed. They left behind clues, written in stone, air, and DNA, that revealed not only how they vanished, but why life on Earth would never be the same again. This is the story of the day the dinosaurs died, and how their death became the beginning of everything that followed. The world before the impact. Before the end, Earth was a paradise of giants. Massive herbivores like Triceratops and Ankylosaurus roamed endless forests. Predators like Tyrannosaurus rex dominated plains filled with lush greenery and tropical heat. Oceans were alive with reptilian monsters. Mosasaurus, plesiosaurs, and ichthyosaurs, rulers of the ancient seas. The air was thick with the cries of pteranodons, gliding over swamps, their wings casting shadows over the earth below. From the outside, it looked eternal, an empire that could never fall. But hidden beneath the surface, change was already coming. Volcanic activity was increasing. Sea levels were shifting. The climate was growing unstable. The dinosaurs were still thriving. But the planet itself was beginning to unravel. And then, one ordinary day, everything changed. The moment of impact. It began with a streak of light, brighter than the sun. A 10-kilometer-wide asteroid, traveling at nearly 70,000 kilometers per hour, slammed into what is now the Yucatán Peninsula in Mexico. The moment it hit, time itself seemed to split. In a fraction of a second, the rock vaporized, releasing more energy than 10 billion nuclear bombs. Temperatures at ground zero soared to over 20,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. The Earth's crust rippled like liquid. Mountains melted, shockwaves shattered everything for thousands of miles. Within minutes, a wall of firestorm winds swept across continents, incinerating everything in its path. Animals didn't even have time to react. In seconds, the age of dinosaurs began to burn, the rain of fire. But the real destruction was only beginning. The impact blasted trillions of tons of rock, ash, and molten glass into the atmosphere. Those fragments, called Tektites, glowed as they re-entered the atmosphere, raining fire back down upon the planet. Imagine standing thousands of kilometers away, and the sky itself begins to fall. The heat from the returning debris ignited forests on every continent. Global wildfires raged for days. Ash darkened the sky. The world became a furnace, followed by the deepest cold Earth had ever known. The longest night. After the fires came the darkness. All that dust, ash, and sulfur from the impact rose into the stratosphere, forming a thick layer that blocked out sunlight for months, maybe even years. Photosynthesis stopped. Temperatures dropped by more than 20 degrees Celsius. Rain became acidic. The lush green world of the dinosaurs transformed into a gray, frozen wasteland. Plant life died, herbivores starved, predators followed soon after. The food web collapsed from the top to the very bottom. It was the closest Earth has ever come to dying. And yet, even in that darkness, something endured. The survivors. When the giant reptiles vanished, a few small creatures held on. Tiny mammals, no bigger than rats, hid in burrows and cracks underground. Some reptiles and amphibians, cold-blooded, resilient, survived the freezing nights. Insects thrived on decay, feeding the smallest survivors. But the most remarkable survivors of all were the birds. Modern research has proven what few once dared to believe. Birds are living dinosaurs. Their hollow bones, feathers, and even nesting behaviors are direct evolutionary continuations of their ancestors. The line between bird and dinosaur isn't a wall, it's a bridge. And that bridge still flies above us every single day. The hidden clues in stone. For millions of years, the Earth buried the evidence of that day under layers of rock and time. Then, in 1980, scientist Luis Alvarez and his son Walter made a groundbreaking discovery: a thin band of clay that stretched across the world, from Italy to America to New Zealand. That layer was rich in iridium, a metal rare on Earth but common in asteroids. It was the first direct evidence of an extraterrestrial impact. Then, in 1991, scientists discovered the Chicxulub crater, a massive circular scar beneath Mexico's Gulf Coast. The mystery was solved. The crater matched the timeline perfectly, between about 66 million years ago. We finally knew where the apocalypse began, the double catastrophe. But here's what most people don't realize. At the same time the asteroid struck, another planetary disaster was already underway. The Deccan Traps, a series of volcanic eruptions in what is now India. These eruptions lasted nearly 1 million years, covering an area larger than Western Europe in molten rock. They released massive amounts of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, gases that poisoned the atmosphere and disrupted global temperatures. In many ways, the Earth was already struggling before the impact. The asteroid didn't start the fire. It finished it. It was the knockout blow delivered to a planet already on its knees. The hours that followed. Within hours of the impact, tsunamis taller than skyscrapers raced across the oceans. Entire coastlines were erased. The heat wave that followed could be felt halfway around the planet. In the following days, firestorms raged, choking the skies with carbon and smoke. Acid rain began to fall, corroding soil and poisoning rivers. And when the fires finally died down, the world was plunged into an endless twilight. For months, the sun was little more than a faint glow behind a curtain of ash. Temperatures fell below freezing. Even the oceans, the last refuge of life, began to die. But deep within that collapse, evolution waited, silently, patiently, ready to start again. Rebirth. Over time, sunlight began to pierce the clouds again. The air cleared. New plants began to sprout from the ashes. And with them came the survivors. Mammals that once hid underground now ventured into the open. Freed from the rule of the dinosaurs, they began to diversify into entirely new forms. Some grew larger, some learned to climb, some learned to think. These were the ancestors of elephants, whales, primates, and eventually humans. If the dinosaurs had never fallen, we might never have existed. Our entire story, everything from fire to flight, began the moment theirs ended. The discovery of Tanis. In 2019, scientists unearthed one of the most astonishing discoveries ever made, a site in North Dakota called Tanis. There, paleontologists found fish fossils, tree trunks, and even dinosaur bones, all mixed with glass beads from the asteroid impact. It was a time capsule, a literal snapshot of the first hours after the disaster. The fish's gills still contained tiny glass spherules, proof that they died within minutes of the asteroid hitting Earth. For the first time, we weren't just studying extinction. We were witnessing it. Tanis gave us a front row seat to the moment life ended and began again. How the world changed forever. The extinction of the dinosaurs didn't just clear space, it reshaped the entire planet. Without massive reptiles ruling the land, forests evolved differently. Birds became dominant in the skies. Mammals became smarter, faster, and more social. Ecosystems became more complex. Predators began hunting in packs, brains grew larger. And from those small, frightened survivors came every living creature we know today, from dogs to whales to ourselves. We are not separate from that extinction. We are its legacy. Could it happen again? Every few million years, the universe reminds us how fragile we are. Asteroids still orbit near Earth. Some pass within cosmic inches of us. In 2022, NASA launched the DART mission, the first successful test to deflect an asteroid. It proved that, for the first time in history, a species on Earth could see the danger coming and choose to fight back. But the question remains, will we learn from the dinosaurs' fate or repeat it? Because while they didn't have telescopes, satellites, or technology, we do. And that means survival this time is a choice. The final lesson. So what actually happened to the dinosaurs? They didn't simply vanish, they changed the world. Their extinction gave birth to mammals. Their evolution gave rise to birds. Their fossils gave us knowledge, and their story gave us perspective. The age of dinosaurs ended in fire and darkness, but it's because of that fire that our light exists. When we look at the sky today, we're staring into the same vast universe that ended their world, but also one that gave us ours. In a strange way, the dinosaurs never really left. They live on. In every bird that flies, every fossil that whispers, and every human who looks up and wonders, what happened that day and what will happen next? If this story made you think differently about extinction and survival, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because here on the Mind Metrics, we uncover the moments that shaped everything we know, the turning points between chaos and creation. Until next time, stay curious, stay questioning, and remember, even the end of the world can become the beginning of something greater.